The contenders are already coming to the fore in MLS as the season moved into week 6. But there were still 2 teams without a win in 2021. We'll see if Cincinnati and Chicago could alter their fortunes. We begin our review though at Lumen Field with the Western Conference pace setters.
What a way to kick off the season for Seattle!
The Sounders have been soaring.
The Sounders lead on enemy territory.
Seattle breaks through!
The Sounders stay atop the league. Their 5th win in 6 matches. The best start in club history continues.
Could Atlanta end their unbeaten start?
Atlanta have won it! Won't you believe it? The final play of the match!
Commentary comes from Sam Parkin and Dan Roebuck.
Outswing up, fair delivery, and the header! Brilliantly taken by Raul Ruidiaz, who cannot stop scoring at the moment. Well, Atlanta undone as Ruidiaz plants the ball beyond Guzan. He's in such good form. That's his 6th of the campaign. He is deadly.
You have to say that is just the finish of a player full of such confidence. Yes, his marker should do better, but what an outstanding header.
Roldan on the right-hand side. Bruin wants it back. Roldan goes himself.
Ruidiaz with good awareness, just shifting it to the right-hand side. The shot has to be taken on there. Just drags it.
Stephen Cleveland turns 27 in just a few days' time. Never been first choice for Seattle. Lennon with the outswinger, and the header seems to take a deflection, and Cleveland with an easy catch. Oh, and the header at the near post. It's a tight angle, really. Martinez was there just to cause a bit of confusion as Roldan tried to get across him as the ball was swung in. Bello using his pace. This is Martinez. Bello wants it back inside the area here. Good covering from Arriaga.
Martinez turning provider in the last 10 minutes or so, dropping into little holes, receives it. Bello's been a bit more positive as well in this second half, at least making some good darts towards the byline. Arriaga defends it well.
Seattle content to let Atlanta come onto them here. This is Lennon. Can he pull it back? Was he caught after the ball had gone? Penalty! Smith, the perpetrator. Lennon goes down, and a chance from the spot for Atlanta to level.
Well, I thought it was a penalty. As soon as he committed to the challenge, good running behind, he's found. And then I think Smith makes a really poor, rash decision. The penalty, in my opinion, is the right decision.
Martinez for Atlanta against the Sounders. The usual shuffle and the usual outcome. Return of the King. Joseph Martinez is back.
That's the usual technique, the stutter. It's nice and true, it's nice and high. And an unlikely point it looks like now for Atlanta after not really testing the rookie goalkeeper at all in this game.
An unlikely share of the spoils for Atlanta United. And Ruidiaz's strike only good enough to see Brian Schmetzer get a point from this. Full time here, the Seattle Sounders 1, Atlanta United 1.
The deal for me was, I don't think we surprised them. I mean, we played true to who we were. We played some, good transition moments where, again, the final movement, the final pass just didn't allow us to get the second goal. So had we got the second goal, then, things would have been different.
The LA Galaxy began the weekend 2nd in the West behind Seattle, while their opponents Portland's injury list ran deep. It didn't stop the home side looking the more menacing. Jeremy Ebobisse gave Jonathan Bond's reflexes a first-half examination. But 90 seconds after the break, a moment that would ultimately determine the outcome across the 90 minutes. Derek Williams' red card was unquestionable, and all immediate concerns turned to the welfare of the Timbers forward, Andy Polo. He was substituted and later seen wearing a leg brace, and his replacement took his chance. Felipe Mora found space between Galaxy defenders to get those inside Providence Park off their seats. That was the Chilean's first of the season in MLS, and 13 minutes later he had another. Jose Carlos Van Rankin perhaps deserved more for his inventiveness, but Mora pounced on the scraps to score a double against the LA Galaxy, just like he did at the end of the last campaign. The visitors probably should have capitalised on a messy few seconds from the Timbers, but once Daniel Sterres' opportunity had gone, you sensed that so had the Galaxies. Sterres did have an impact inside the penalty area, just unfortunately it was his own. His failure to withdraw his leg from Van Rankin's bustling run resulted in a Portland penalty. And only one man was going to take it.
So Diego Valeri for Portland, for whom this is turning into a very productive day.
That was Valeri's 99th goal in green and gold.
It was LAFC who surprisingly found themselves at the foot of the West. On a 4-game winless run, they hosted a Rapid side that had won their last 3. But the visitors' new 5-man defence was breached in the 14th minute.
Baird separates for Rossi!
Victories over the Whitecaps, Minnesota United and the Houston Dynamo had lifted Colorado into a healthy position, and they had their moments in the first half. Michael Barrios going close here. Coach Robin Fraser chose to change their formation to combat the dual threat of Carlos Vela and Diego Rossi, who started together this season for the first time, but to no avail.
Vela. Oh, great touch, Rossi!
The Rapids made a fast start to the second half, pulling one back inside 5 minutes, when a poor defensive header from Diego Palacios was seized on by Diego Rubio, allowing Barrios to grab a first goal for his new club. He found himself in a similar position just before the hour too. This time, keeper Pablo Cisniega stood firm. Without a win since the opening weekend, Bob Bradley's side endured a nervous finish. And they were grateful that Brazilian striker André Shinyashiki missed the Rapids' final chance from what was a promising position. Their late rally wasn't enough to prevent the end of a 3-match winning streak. LAFC will hope this is the start of an upwards trajectory for them.
Staying in California, a first meeting between San Jose and Sporting Kansas City since a captivating MLS Cup playoff match between the pair 6 months previous. Chofis's terrific finish inside 4 minutes strongly hinted that more drama was to come. SKC's 2 most recent away games hadn't yielded any points, so the unexpected sight of defender Jalen Lindsay inside San Jose's penalty area was a welcome one. He exuded calmness to score his first professional goal. But while SKC's problems have been on their travels of late, the Quakes have grappled with issues at PayPal Park. Cade Cowell ran out of room shortly after the break to put San Jose back in front. The 17-year-old had mitigating circumstances for not scoring, but unfortunately the far more experienced Andy Rios did not. That would have provided the Earthquakes with the lift they needed. But they were flattened by 2 fabulous displays of accuracy. Alan Pulido scored his 4th of this MLS season. Already more than half of the goals he managed in his debut campaign. And the Mexican was a key cog in SKC's 3rd 15 minutes from time. Daniel Shalhoub has also had a strong scoring start to his season, and his team is showing plenty of strength in character. This was the 3rd time SKC had come from behind to win in 2021.
Point and a place behind San Jose coming into week 6. The Houston Dynamo made the perfect start against the Vancouver Whitecaps when Memo Rodriguez pounced for an 8th-minute opener. Keeper Maxime Crepeau spilling the ball right into his path. It proved a productive evening for the winger, who gained an assist too when his corner set up Maxi Urruti late in the half.
To the far post of Rudy, pulled out, launched it in! Oh, what a hit! Off the side volley! It's Maxi time here in Houston.
The Dynamo's Costa Rican international Ari Lassiter showed some excellent technique of his own here, coming very close to settling the game midway through the second half. First goal this year would have been a fine way to mark his first start of the season. Instead, some defensive sloppiness from the home side let Vancouver back in the game. A loose touch from Boniek Garcia saw Lucas Cavallini set up Deiber Caicedo, who fired through a crowd to bring up his first goal for the club and in MLS. And they almost snatched a point in the final moments of normal time. Caicedo and substitute Ryan Raposo combining to create some late pressure. But the ball was scrambled away, and Houston extended their unbeaten home run at the start of this season to 4 matches.
Also in Texas, 2 more Western Conference teams. You'd be forgiven for thinking Real Salt Lake's 4-on-1 situation was late in their game at FC Dallas, but it was only 19 minutes in. Albert Rushnak's wild finish was perhaps the clearest indication of the sharpness not quite being at peak levels. Not that it took RSL long to find it, mind. Less than 60 seconds later, some debatable Dallas defending allowed Rubio Rubin some unforeseen space to score his 4th of the season. The wet conditions at Toyota Stadium were certainly adding to the chaos. Justin Glad's untimely slip wasn't fully anticipated by Frank O'Hara, as Dallas came close to offering an immediate response. But the weather wasn't a factor in the goal Real Salt Lake did concede before the break. The challenge by Marcelo Silva was nothing more than mistimed on Hader Obrian. And Hara, with plenty of time to choose what to do with the penalty, was precise to level the game up at 1-1. Luchi Gonzalez's team had 29 shots in total, and their forthright approach appeared to have paid dividends with 6 minutes to go. Ryan Hollingshead, via a minor deflection, crashed in to spin the game in Dallas's favour. But the lead the home side toiled to earn lasted just 2 minutes. Damir Krylak providing RSL with some serious salvation. No win this season.
Oh, he puts out the fire yet again.
No goals in 3 games.
He'll finish that 9 times out of 10. You just saw the one.
A rapid response was required from the Chicago Fire to stop the alarm. Could they extinguish the danger posed by Inter Miami? Watching this Eastern Conference clash at Soldier Field was Phil Blacker.
Pineda again. Frankowski, brilliant ball, not quite the composure to finish, so close for Chicago. Did wonderfully well to get there first, and it was only a fraction away. Not like he'd done everything right. That's been the story for Chicago so far. Shaw cross forward here. This is Morgan. Gonzalo Higuain, Federico calling for it, gets it. Can't find the finish, came at him quickly. It's usually the other way around. The senior brother is the provider. And Gonzalo, 3 years his junior, tends to be on the end of them. The role reversal didn't quite come off this time. Sekulic. Good little ball for Frankowski. This is Berich. McCarthy immediately called into action. Nothing wrong with his reflexes, so he gets down smartly to make the save. Had very little to do today until this moment, really. Shot just too close to him. Figuel forward in support. And a big appeal for the handball. Led by the coach. They're convinced. Don't
think there was anything in there to show that it did strike him on the arm, and the check is over. It's not a penalty, it's a corner. Miami could still make something of this, though. Glanced away by Sekulic. For Jovin Jones to try and return it. Does hoist it in high. It's Figal who met it with a powerful header. Straight at Shuttleworth. Somewhat unorthodox, really, the manner in which Bobby Shuttleworth went to deal with it, but he did divert it away from danger. Chicago sizing up the options from the free kick. McCarthy's made a real mess of it, though, from Madran's effort, and it's crept in. Chicago lead. Gifted to them, really, by John McCarthy. He's been excellent this season for Inter Miami, but that is a nightmare moment for the goalkeeper. Lewis Morgan whips it in with real pace. Oh, and it's wide. Big chance. Calvo doing just enough up against Carranza. The closest that Inter Miami have come. It is a first victory of the season for the Chicago Fire, as they inflict Inter Miami's first away defeat of the season. Full time, Chicago Fire 1, Inter Miami 0.
I mean, we have one win, so I don't want to go too high, but the way the team responded after 4 losses was really, really good, and I'm really happy that they actually got rewarded for a very good game.
The East's early front-runners, the New England Revolution, fell behind early in their home meeting with the New York Red Bulls. Andres Reyes heading home Frankie Amaya's corner for a debut goal in the 7th minute. The start of an eventful first appearance for the 21-year-old Colombian. Making his second consecutive start in a more advanced role, Austrian midfielder Daniel Royer wasted their best opportunity to extend that lead. Matt Turner doing just enough, while Fabio fluffed the follow-up. Last season's meeting here had ended 1-1, with Gustavo Bo scoring the equaliser for the Revolution, and the Argentine did it again here with a tidy finish for his second goal of the season 10 minutes before the break. 2 minutes later, the game turned definitively in their favour. Reyes had already picked up 1 yellow card when this follow-through on Carles Gil cost him a second. Sent off on his final appearance for Inter Miami last season, now a red on his first appearance for his new club. And in first half stoppage time, the visitors found themselves 2-1 down thanks to Tejan Buchanan.
Nice move by Tejan, gets to the byline, goes, oh wow! How did he bury that from the tightest of angles?
The points were wrapped up with a fine team goal late on, rounded off by Adam Buksa after good work from Hill and Bo to set it up. That made it 2 in 2 games for the Polish striker, and consigned the Red Bulls to a 3rd consecutive away defeat, while the Revs remain top in the East.
While the Red Bulls were on the road, NYCFC made Red Bull Arena their home for the visiting champions Columbus. The crew have certainly not had the same frightening feel about them so far this season. Ismail Tajuri Shradi located their latest weak spot inside 20 minutes. But if it weren't for the instinctive nature of the visitors' goalkeeper, Aloy Room, denying Jesus Medina, it might have been a very unpleasant start. The crew's levels of ingenuity, though, were just getting going.
Zelarayan, he'll drive it in goal, and it's in! Hey, Chihuahua Santa Maria, Lucas Zelarayan makes it 1-1.
And if you thought that goal 8 minutes from time had bite, the same player delivered once more with seconds left.
Zelarayan does it again! Lucas Zelarayan, a wizard into the upper corner, and Columbus with a smash and grab, they lead 2-1.
Toronto have made Exploria Stadium their temporary home this season, but this was an away match for TFC against their landlords, Orlando, who did them no early favours, as Sylvester van der Vaart set up a thumping header for Teisho Akindele just 11 minutes in. While Orlando were unbeaten so far, Toronto had won just once in their opening 5, but nearly levelled through Jefferson Soteldo's persistence late in the half. Robin Janssen producing a very valuable goal line clearance to deny the Venezuelan his first MLS goal. Toronto's learning curve under new coach Chris Armas continues, but they were unfortunate not to come away with at least a point after 2 good chances for sub Jacob Schaffelberg in the final 20 minutes. This after he'd just come off the bench. Rodrigo Schlegel in the way this time. Schaffelberg had already come up with 1 late equaliser in his previous outing against NYCFC, but with 30 seconds of normal time to go, the second MLS goal of his career proved beyond him. It's 3 wins and 3 draws now for Orlando.
Like Orlando, Nashville were the East's only other unbeaten side. They've mostly dealt in draws rather than wins, but more than 22,000 at Nissan Stadium were encouraged by what they saw early on. It was CJ Sapong that the ball had evaded, and then he watched as his fellow boys in gold utilised it well all around him. John de Cadiz located Randall Leao, though he perhaps didn't mean to deceive with a shot that bounced twice before crossing the Austin goal line. For Nashville, this was a first experience of being a big boy in the playground. They're no longer the latest expansion team to MLS, and Cadiz could have further asserted their authority. After the break, the visitors thought they'd penetrated a defence that is rarely breached, but Jared Stroud's meticulous execution went unrewarded after video review highlighted an offside. So it's now more than 400 minutes since Nashville last conceded an MLS goal.
FC Cincinnati were back on the road after opening TQL Stadium last week with a loss to Inter Miami. Still without a win so far, Yapstam's men thought they'd taken the lead when Lucio Acosta pounced 2 minutes before half-time, but the offside flag cut the celebration short. No luck at one end, but a huge slice of it at the other just seconds later, when Montreal's Romel Kyoto produced the miss of the season so far. How he, rather than the ball, ended up in the net, only he knows. Unselfish play from Zachary Broguiar, a miss his coach Wilfried Nancy couldn't believe either. The Honduran did make amends by creating their opening goal 10 minutes into the second half. Georgi Mihailovic starting and finishing the move for his first goal since the first weekend of the season. And all seemed well. Cincinnati had scored twice to come from behind last time out. They let it slip on that occasion, but they did it again here to claim victory. Jurgen Lecadia's first of the season, starting the comeback with a little over 20 minutes to go. And then, one of their new signings, Gustavo Vallecilla, threw himself at Ronald Matarrita's free kick. A memorable first goal in MLS for the Ecuadorian defender. It secured a welcome first win at the 5th attempt, but it's 3 defeats in 4 now for Montreal.
There were more goals in DC United's final home match of 2020 than there had been all season so far at Audi Field. Adrian Perez is without one since 2019. Last year's Supporters' Shield winners, the Philadelphia Union, had started the campaign in a lively manner, if not short of a few goals themselves. Jamiro Montero's miss suggested luck wasn't with them either. But the Union's number 10 more than made up for it with a dazzling assist minutes later. Kasper Shabilko's touch and finish were quite handy too. And though an offside flag initially halted the celebrations, video review provided a definitive reason to still carry out the high fives and the hugs. DC introduced 18-year-old Kevin Paredes off the bench in the second half, and youthful exuberance was almost rewarded. But Andre Blake in the Union goal was as much a nemesis to DC United as they were to themselves. Plenty carved out, nothing converted. It's now 5 defeats in 6 matches for Hernan Losada's team.
That win for Philadelphia lifts last season's Supporters' Shield winners into 3rd in the East, just behind unbeaten Orlando and leaders New England. Also yet to lose, Nashville SC are up 4 places to 4th.
Seattle's lead at the top of the West remains at 4 points, but it's now SKC who are their nearest challengers after their win at San Jose and the Galaxy's defeat to Portland. LAFC are up to 9th. They're replaced at the bottom by FC Dallas.
Better late than never. A week that gave first victories of the season to Cincinnati.
It's Gustavo Vallecilla who scores it to give Yapstam's side the advantage.
And Chicago.
Stojanovic strikes, McCarthy spills it and it's gone in.
Plus a free kick double whammy to earn Columbus a comeback win at the death.
Celerino does it again. Columbus
Columbus with a smash and grab.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.